In this video, I'm going to show you my incredibly easy scalping strategy that just works. And I know how that sounds, because most easy strategies either don't work or fall apart the moment you try to use them. This is different. Not because it's complicated, but because it's supposed to be simple on purpose. If you've tried scalping before but felt like it was chaotic, stressful, or inconsistent, this is usually why. It's not that scalping doesn't work, it's that most traders approach it with no structure. They take every setup, they overtrade, and then they turn something simple into something messy. I trade using a very clear, rule-based process that filters out almost everything, and only leaves the setups that actually matter. And it's the exact same strategy that allows me to make profits like this, and this almost every single day. Not by taking more trades, but by taking better ones. In this video, I'm going to break down the strategy step by step, show you exactly how it works, and explain how keeping it simple is what actually makes it consistent. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to scalp with clarity instead of chaos, and why the easiest strategies are usually the ones that work the best. So before we ever get into entries, before we ever even drop to the 1 minute chart, everything starts with this. Because if you don't get this part right, nothing else in this strategy matters. Not your timing, not your execution, not your results. And this is where most scalpers go wrong. They start on the 1 minute chart. They look for setups, patterns, entries, without ever asking, does this area even matter? Because if it doesn't, it's not a trade. So step one of this strategy is determining where price actually matters. And I do that with fair value gaps. A fair value gap is just an imbalance in price. It forms when the market moves aggressively over a certain area. It's not an entry signal, it just tells me something meaningful happened here. Let me show you exactly what that looks like. A fair value gap is a 3 candlestick structure in which we have 1, 2, 3 candles that the first candle's wick and the third candle's wick do not overlap the body. This forms a fair value gap. In this case, this is a bullish fair value gap only because the middle candle here is a bullish candle. When we have a bullish fair value gap, price was inefficient in this area, which means that if we return to this area, we will expect it to push price higher after filling all of these orders. The same exact thing applies for a bearish fair value gap. We have 1, 2, 3 candles in which the first candle's wick and the third candle's wick doesn't overlap the body of the second candle. This forms a bearish fair value gap because our middle candle here is bearish. If price returns to this gap, it'll project price lower. And now we know what we're looking for, but here's the part most traders still miss. Not all fair value gaps matter. They form everywhere on every single time frame. But that doesn't mean they're all worth trading. Now here's where this strategy actually becomes powerful. The only gaps I care about are on the higher time frames. The 15 minute, the 1 hour and above. That's where the move is strong enough to actually matter. So instead of reacting to every small move, I resort to high time frame gaps to tell me where price matters. And then I ignore everything else, which is exactly what makes this strategy so simple. Because instead of having 20 possible setups, you have maybe 1 or 2 that actually matter. Again, I'm not using these high time frame gaps for entries, I'm using them for context. They tell me where to focus and more importantly, where not to trade. And that's what removes the chaos from scalping. I wait for something called SMT divergence. Not as an entry, just as confirmation. All I'm doing here is comparing 2 correlated markets and asking one simple question. Are they moving the same way or not? If they're not, that's information. It tells me something is off and that's exactly what I want to see. If you look at these 2 charts here, you'll notice that one of them is labeled NASDAQ and the other one is labeled ES. This is because these 2 are correlated pairs, meaning that whenever NASDAQ moves up, ES also moves up, and whenever NASDAQ moves down, ES also moves down. That's what makes them correlated markets. But what happens when we get a break in that correlation? When NASDAQ makes a higher high and a lower high, while ES in the same spot makes a lower high and a higher high. That is called SMT divergence. And I want to look for that when we tag into our high time frame fair value gap. But here's where most people mess this up. They start looking for SMT everywhere. On every chart, on every time frame, in random places. And that's not how I use it. SMT only matters when it's inside my high time frame fair value gap. If price isn't in that area, I don't care about it. Because without context, that SMT is just noise. But when it shows up in my zone, I know it means something. Now it's confirming that the setup is worth paying attention to. And this is what keeps the strategy simple. I'm not stacking indicators. I'm not looking for 10 different signals. I'm just waiting for alignment. High time frame location, high time frame fair value gap, plus SMT inside that gap. If both are there, I stay interested in the trade. If one is missing, I do nothing. No forcing, no guessing, no overtrading, and that's exactly what removes the chaos. Because now I'm not reacting to price. I'm waiting for a very specific condition before I can even think about entering. If you're watching this and thinking, this actually makes sense, but I don't trust myself to apply it just yet, that's exactly where most traders get stuck. Because understanding this and being able to filter correctly in real time are two very different things. That's why I run my one-on-one lifetime mentorship. I work directly with traders to help them apply this process the right way, filtering properly, eliminating bad trades, and building real consistency. Click the first link in the description below if you're serious about simplifying your trading and actually making this work. So now we have two things in place. We know where price matters, and we have confirmation inside that area. But we're still not in a trade, because even with both of those in place, there's still no timing involved. This is where most traders mess it up. They see everything line up and they jump in too early, or they hesitate and miss the move completely. Step 3 is what solves that. This is what tells me exactly when I'm allowed to enter. This is where inversion fair value gaps come in. And this is the only part of the strategy in which I care about the 1 through 5 minute chart. Not for bias, not for confirmation, only for execution. All I'm waiting for is price to tag this level, form SMT, and then disrespect a fair value gap, turning it into an inversion. That's when I can start thinking about my entry. An inversion fair value gap comes into play when we have a normal fair value gap that gets completely disrespected and closed below. This turns it into an inversion gap. And instead of us expecting price to go higher now, we're going to expect price to go lower instead. This is what I use for my entries. So if we come back to this example here, you'll notice that we closed below this inversion gap right here. Therefore, I can take my entry and place my stop loss above the high that formed this SMT. And my target will simply be a 2R. Let's go ahead and play this out. As you can see, we did hit that target. And this is what makes the strategy actually work, because everything is aligned. High time frame gap for location, SMT for confirmation, and an inversion gap for execution. That's the entire system. If all three are there, I take the trade. If one is missing, I do nothing. And that's why it feels easy, because there's no decision making in the moment. It's either there or it's not. It's purely a mechanical model. Taking a look at another example here, as you can see, price is currently sitting inside of this 4-hour bullish fair value gap. So I'm going to look for step 2, which is SMT divergence. Here on the S&P 500, you can see we're forming a lower low and a higher low. And in the exact same spot on the NASDAQ, we're forming a higher low and a lower low. This is my SMT divergence, and now I can drop to my lower time frame to find my entry. Down here on my lower time frame, as you can see, we have a bearish 5-minute fair value gap. So if this gets inversed, meaning it gets closed above, I will be able to take my trade. As you can see, we closed above that gap right here, turning this into an inversion, allowing me to take an entry with my stop loss below this low, and again, targeting a 2R. Let's play this one out. And we hit this target as well. And that's the entire strategy. Nothing complicated, nothing extra. Just 3 steps. Define where price matters, confirm it, and execute it with precision. And that's why it works. Not because it gives you more trades, but because it removes everything that does not belong. Now, the only question is, can you apply this consistently? And that's the difference. Understanding the strategy and being able to apply it consistently are two very different things. Because when you're in a live market, it's easy to second guess, it's easy to rush entries, and it's easy to break your own rules. That's the gap most traders stay stuck in. And that's exactly why I run my one-on-one lifetime mentorship. I work directly with traders to help them apply this process the right way, filtering correctly, waiting for alignment, and executing with consistency. Because once you can do that, the strategy becomes repeatable. Click the first link in the description below if you're ready to take action and start applying this model properly. I also made a free course right here on YouTube going over exactly how to start day trading as a beginner in 2026. It covers everything from A to Z on how to get set up with day trading. I'll leave the link to that video posted right here. All you have to do is click the video and it will take you right to it. If you guys enjoyed this video, I would greatly appreciate if you like and subscribe, turn on notifications for my next video, and leave a comment down below for what you want to see next. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.